Welcome to Our Town, a 30-minute podcast brought to you by Best Bark Communications, a small but fierce client-centered marketing company powered by decades of experience and well-established business networks.
This is Our Town, talking with the legendary Sonny Jurgensen. When you were traded to Washington after a stellar career, a lot of people don't really know, but the Eagles won the Super Bowl. There was no Super Bowl, but the Eagles were the champions. It beat Green Bay.
60, right. The only game that Packers lost in a championship.
Right.
It was away. It was at Franklin Field
In Philly.
and
Van Brocklin.
We beat them at Van Brocklin, Chuck Bednarik.
Oh, man, the names. It's a great Eagles team.
Right.
But that was the last year of non-dynasty because then after that, the Packers began to dominate the league and winning so many times. And Sonny, then you took over in '61 and broke all the records, and you were a big support star in Philly. But trading to Washington was a little traumatic for you.
It was. I was surprised because I had just talked with the new head coach of the Philadelphia team, was Joe Kaharick. And I had met with him, talked with him about what we were going to do and why we were going to win and how. And I was very excited about it, you know.
A new beginning for you, right?
And I walk out of there at 13th and Locust and walk to 18th and Spruce, which was a day's delicatessen. And I go in and some guys come in. I was meeting some friends there. Some guys come in and say, "Hey, I just see where you got traded." I said, "What? What are you talking about?" And I said, "I just met with the coach." I said, "I didn't get traded." And I said, "It was April Fool's Day." And I said, "It's April Fool's." That's the reason. And they said, "No, we just heard it on the radio."
You're gone.
So I go back around the 13th and Locust and run into the coach. And I said, "What is this? Traded?" He said, "Yep, we traded you. We got a good trade for Norm Snead, and we're going to let you go." And I said, "Gee, you got to be kidding me." And I was really shocked. But in the long run, it was the best thing that happened to me.
That's true.
Because it gave me an opportunity to start fresh again.
Right.
Start over again.
This would be your team, too. The Eagles were still Van Brocklin's team.
That's right. But it gave me a chance to start over again. He gave people in Wilmington, they took trains up to see me play.
Oh, I know. It was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And
So
Sam came the same year.
Right.
And that changed everything in the city, and it changed everything for the pro football world in this area. And as you know, as much as anybody, the Redskins were a team of the South. George
That's right.
Marshall
It was the
played
first
that.
team. It was the first team because you know, it'd been with MAL that we broadcast in Miami.
Absolutely. You heard us from Maine to Florida.
That's right.
But they were the Southern team, and everybody in North Carolina were Redskin fans, and Virginia were Redskin fans. South Carolina.
They didn't have the Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons in the Tampa Bay. And
that's right. It's all changed, Sonny, over the years. And the changes have been good, and I know that you've had a wonderful, wonderful time here in Washington, and Washington still has a wonderful time with you. And things that we didn't talk about in those days, but suddenly in Washington we had a quarterback controversy. and when George was here, and George got Billy to come up from North Carolina, I recall that vividly. But what George didn't know, you guys were skin tight with each other. There was no rivalry there.
Still are.
To this day.
We're still tight. All right. He lives in Coral Springs, and I see him down in Naples on occasion. Comes over to play golf. But we were close. We liked the same things. And we became friends then. And we
lifelong friends from that.
We've remained friends. We really have.
And we all lived through Billy and Sonny and the bumper stickers and so forth. But that was a fun thing. The town loved it. They, it was everybody was talking about it. It was something we never had before. Nobody ever competed with Sam Ball, but they did with Sonny and Bill. They had a thing.
Well, when Billy and I would go out in my car or in his car. Whenever we would see a bumper sticker, if it said "I like Billy," I would give him the bird. And if it said "I like Sonny," he would give him the bird. So we'd flip them off and keep going. And they'd say, "That was Jurgensen and Kilmer together there."
Well, they were beginning the glory years because, in spite of George being a little nutso about everything, they were winning. You had a winning football team.
He was a good defensive coach. It was no question. He was the coach of the Bears when they had the great
when defense. They won the championship.
That's right. And he was a good defensive coach. I give him credit there. That we had struggles offensively because Billy and I had played, and I had played under Lombardi's system. And the thing that Vince Lombardi did that no other coach did, and I played for 9 different head coaches, the thing that he did more than anybody else was simplify the game of football. He simplified it. And that, because of that, it made it easy to play. You
didn't have to worry about a lot of things.
You didn't have to
no
worry.
Pressure.
Yeah, that's right. You reacted to what you saw defensively and threw the ball accordingly. And we had good years.
With Lombardi.
With Lombardi. I'll never forget, after the first year, I went into the office, and he was there. And he congratulated me on the first year under him. He said, "You didn't even know the system." He said, "But you completed 65% of your passes. You set some records." He said, "I think now that you know the system, next year you'll complete 70% of your passes." Gee.
Unheard of.
He was right. And he said... And I said, "But look how many times I got sacked because you told me to hold on to the ball and then throw it." And I said, "Look how many times I got sacked." He said, "Yeah, but you knew the personnel better than I did." And laughed and walked out.
He did. What a character.
Oh, he was. He had a great sense of humor.
I remember that office he had down on Connecticut Avenue.
Yeah, that's right.
With Pat Stone.
That's
oh,
right.
My God.
Yes.
I mean, how vain he was that Alex Sheftel was doing that column about his dress. And he dressed on the sidelines. He never looked like a coach. He looked like a fan. He was well-dressed,
that's
right?
Right.
Wore top coats and hats. Now you can't tell the players from the coaches. But they were great. That was a great experience for you, Sonny. And Vince brought a lot of excitement to the city. And then, unfortunately, you missed Joe Gibbs. And we're going to be right back and talk about the Redskins after this break. And this is Our Town.
Hi, Tony Sybil here to tell everybody about our newest restaurant over off New York Avenue. It's called City Smokehouse, 1356 Oakey Street Northeast, right next to the Heck Company warehouse. It is terrific, and we have the only seafood smoker in the District of Columbia. So when you go to your grocery stores or your delis, ask for Ivy City products. 202-529-3300 or ivycitysmokehouse.com.
Our Town, brought to you by Best Bark Communications.
Jerky steps to the firing line. Sonny hurls a honey to Bobby Mitchell, and it's touchdown, Washington. Jerky is making the Eagles eat crow as he passes the Redskins to a fast 14-point advantage. Adolph Christian's Sonny Jurgensen throws his 5th touchdown pass of the game as he lays it on the Eagles with a scoring shot to Taylor. Jurgensen wins the battle of the quarterbacks, and Washington wins the war 35-20.
Andy Ockershausen, we're back on Our Town. I'm talking to Sonny Jurgensen, man who needs no introduction. It's hard to believe, Sonny, that 52 years you've been if not a member, certainly part of the Washington Redskins.
It is. Sam and I, he was doing the games before I came in and started doing the games with him in '81, and we were, a trio for a lot of years.
I know, a traveling
Sam,
circus
Frank,
almost.
and Sonny, and
But they were winning years.
it's right.
That
Yes,
was
they
Mr.
were.
Cook and Joe Gibbs. They didn't come as an entry, but they came pretty close because I think they turned the team back to Cook. Edward Ryder Williams gave it up because he got baseball in Baltimore, and Cook came in to run the Redskins.
That's right. He did. I think he was getting divorced out in California, and he had to get out of there. And he came
hiding.
That's right. And he came to the Redskins, and they were good years because he ends up getting Bethard.
Yeah, he
And
Bobby.
Bobby Bethard. And Bethard was instrumental, I think, and along with Mr. Cook, in getting Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, they hired him away, and in essence, didn't they, from Don Coryell? He was his offensive
That's
guy.
right. And they knew what it took to win, and he was a great coach. There's no question
Oh
about
my
it.
God. And Cook was a great owner.
That's right.
And Bobby was a great general manager, and they proved it. But as a great trio, and a great owner is important when he had money, and Mr. Cook had it.
That's right. Yeah.
But Sonny, the thing that was so great, I think we talked about this before, the way the town, embraced the Redskins, and they always had. But this was more than I'd ever seen in my experience. And I was telling somebody the other day, I remember because my brother took me to see it. I don't know how, we were very young. They used to practice at Fairlawn Playground across the river. That was their facility. They weren't a world-class team. But Mr. Cook came in, gave him the money to build that facility that George put in there, right?
That's right.
And then I hired
Redskins
Gibbs.
Park.
And Bobby's going in the Hall of Fame this year, and it's about time.
Yes, it is. I'm happy for him, and look forward to seeing him.
I mean, what a great general manager he was, and he got along with everybody, and Cook was a great arbitrator. He wasn't a football guy, but he was an entertainment guy. He knew what it took.
He was that.
Bob, Sonny, what about Joe? He's made so much. A Carolina boy too, right?
Carolina boy, but
He got a racing career now.
and a very successful one too.
Yeah,
Very
his methods
successful. Yeah.
resonate with the game. And Billy doesn't do anything with the racing, of course. He's still with sports. And then you had a great TV career, in addition to the great radio career. You worked with Glenn Brenner and his unfortunate demise in '92. Do you believe how long ago that was, Sonny?
It's unreal. Right.
And at the time went so fast. And then working with George at WRC. And both of those great sports guys are gone.
Yes, and I was scared to get another job because everybody was dying. I didn't want to get another job, but with Glenn, you didn't do sports.
No, that's
It was
entertainment.
a shtick. He had shtick, and he was an entertainer. And George was just the opposite. George was nuts and bolts and
very good at it too.
very good at it. Yeah, he worked at it. He worked at it and knew exactly what he wanted from highlights. And he had that, I think
The sports machine.
sports
Remember that?
machine that he did that on Sunday night, and he was the only show that wasn't on cable.
That is correct. And then cable came along later and wiped it off. But George was worldwide with that sports machine.
That's right,
on
exactly
Sunday
right.
night. Well, I know about, and he also was a good teacher. He taught a lot of people the fundamentals of putting a sports show together.
Yes, he did, because and those people would be in there every Sunday, and they would sit there, and the guys had coat and tie on. They'd sit and they would chart games. You chart this game.
They
you
did
chart
the satellites,
that game.
right?
Oh yeah, they'd chart in games, and
George
could go back and take the plays out.
And now it's all that cable has done it now. That all the things that George brought to TV, and a great local guy involved with everybody. And I remember when we had some problems with Ken Beatrice in the Washington Post. That the first phone call I got was from George Michael. He said, "I'm available. I'll do the show."
Is that right?
Oh yeah, he liked Ken very much. He said he's kooky, but I like the guy, and I don't want him, criticized for what he did. He's an entertainer.
That's right.
And the Post never could. I argued with George Solomon. Said, Rodney Dangerfield talked about his wife all the time. Wasn't even married. So Ken is an entertainer, and you got to take him for what he is. But thinking of your years, Sonny, the coaches you've had, my gosh, you mentioned some of them, but there's some of the legendary coaches. And
I didn't get on the field with some of them. With Van Brocklin,
yeah,
he became coach in Philadelphia in 60.
He was coach after you left, right?
That's right. But we started having meetings, but we did not have. We never got on the field. Eric never got on the field. He traded me away.
Well, who else was with you? King Hill in Philly.
King Hill was, he was with me.
And then Van Brocklin got the job in Minnesota. Was that his first head coaching job?
Yes, it was.
Well, it was for the great player that he was. He didn't bring that to the coaching profession.
No, he didn't.
Probably expected too much.
You're right. Not players don't become great head coaches or great coaches.
That is correct. They just don't. They expect too much, huh?
I think so.
That's the way I did it. It's me.
Yeah.
Ditka had that same experience in Chicago, but he was lucky because somebody had did a hell of a job to draft those players that Ditka got. Buddy Ryan coached the defense.
There you go.
And boy, they were so good. They dominated everything. People were afraid to play them.
I don't know how many points they scored, but they didn't score many points.
No. But they didn't need the opposition didn't score any at all.
Exactly.
Well, now that you've come to the conclusion that the Redskins have arrived, I know you're very impressed with Kirk and the system,
right,
and what they've done. And for your sake and our sake and all of us in the city, I hope the Redskins come back and become a champion again.
I hope so too. And they have a good staff. Jay Gruden has a very good staff. And he's got the right people. I think that will make this a success, and let's hope they do.
Well, and we need it. The city wants it, and we're going to do it. Well, we're going to take another break here, Sonny, and come back, and I want to talk to you about some other things about your stellar career, and we'll be right back here on Our Town.
Our Town, brought to you by Best Bark Communications.
This is Sonny Jurgensen. Got a confession to make. I let my wife drag me to one of those Mike Collins estate planning seminars. Like I don't have enough on my plate with a certain football team. Actually, it wasn't too bad. In fact, we both learned a whole lot about how to protect our kids and grandkids down the road and to take care of ourselves right now. So if you get one of Mike's invitations in the mail, go. I'm glad I did. Get all the information and register online at MikeCollins.com. That's MikeCollins.com.
You're listening to Our Town.
We want a touchdown. 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 He's on the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! You gotta be a football hero.
Sonny, I'd like to talk to you about some of the things we share in our adult lives, let's say. The essence of the future. You did a lot of traveling when you were a football player, and I did a lot of traveling when I was in broadcasting, but nothing is compared to what we have done together and with our wives over the last 25 years or more of the trips we've made, and the special things that we've done, the special things you've done, and that is to go on safari. We went to Kenya in 1989. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
That was a fun trip. I think that was probably our best trip.
And everything it compares to it, but it was something that was new to me, new to you. The things that we did and the things that we saw, I don't think they exist anymore, Sonny. But I do recall the balloon ride over the Serengeti. That to me, for breakfast, was on my mind blowing.
That was great. Yeah.
Wasn't that super see the animals run and watch the herds? And then
I remember being in Nairobi with my cigar.
I do recall the little guy. The guy was on not a wheelchair, but something. He was scraping around.
No legs.
Yeah, he had no leg, and he was scraping around the market.
That's right.
Wanting a cigar.
He wanted a cigar, and I said, "Get!" And I'm pulling him along.
He wasn't after autograph.
That's right. So I ended up giving him a cigar, and from there, there had to be 10 people there.
They all followed.
They all
Like
followed.
a
Where'd you
parade.
get that cigar from that guy?
You did wonderful with the cigars, though. And the trips that we made that impressed Janice so much. We were going through the airport at the TWA. We were going on flying to Europe, and who passes by and says, "Hi, Sonny, it's Garth Brooks." Janice said, "That was more impressive of her than your touchdown passes." she didn't care about that. But seeing Garth Brooks, and I recall that very vividly. And the time we went out in Egypt by the pyramids, and the guy came from walking down the beach or someplace around the pyramids, and we were in the museum, and the guy said, "Hey, Sonny," and he kept walking. It was amazing, wasn't it?
And who was the lady at the Vatican?
Oh, Inga.
Inga, that's right.
And you worked with her at Channel 4.
I did.
Inga Rungvold.
And she came by and said, "Hi, I'm going."
What's this woman saying around?
He was the fighter.
Oh, yeah, the boxer. That was in Como.
Como.
One of our trips to Italy. I think that was a trip we got engaged on. Remember the place we spent? We thought it was $2,600 a night. And I said, "I'm not wasting this. I'm going to get engaged or something." And then we went on a boat and rode in the thing. And who was the boxer?
Michael Hagler. Michael Hagler.
It's right there on the...
He was walking down the street.
Right, walking down the street.
Marvin.
Marvelous Marvin.
Marvelous Marvin.
But he's living over there, right? He's living in Italy.
He's a movie star.
That's right. He was doing films.
Yeah.
Sonny. And then at Italy we loved, and where I got engaged and got married the next year at your house, which we rented for the weekend. And
you still owe me.
To France. And we went to the beaches of Normandy. That was a great trip.
That was good. That kind of rivals the Kenya trip.
That was absolutely outstanding to see that things and what our country did and our kids did.
You remember we stayed, when we were going to Kenya, we stayed in Egypt in the Sheraton Heliopolis.
Right.
Overnight.
That's correct.
And we walked down and had dinner with this attachment to the hotel. It was right up attached to it. I said, "This is dangerous. They got AstroTurf down on for the inside of that place, and they were barbecuing in there, which is also dangerous." And we spent the night there. Then we go on to Kenya. We come back home, and it wasn't 3 weeks that the Hotel Heliopolis burned down completely.
Burned the tent and everything.
Everything, yeah.
It was amazing.
Whoa, we got out of there alive.
Oh,
I couldn't believe that thing burned down.
Oh, Sonny, incredible. But it was such a fire trap, and you knew it when you were pointing it out. I said, "This place looked like it could burn to me." It would have. And then we had a great trip to Germany. We saw all the sights in Berlin, and had so much fun to find the new world in Germany. And then we went to Italy, which was our favorite of all the places we've been. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Go back there in a minute. Food was great. The people were fabulous. And where we went to?
We went down the.
What was it that Guido met us? Palermo and Sicily. We love Sicily too.
Sicily.
Great people.
Yes, it was. But the boat trip down the Rhone.
The Rhone, wasn't that great? The Rhine, the Rhone.
There again, we were in Nice, and we stayed in this hotel. It was Margot had a picture made with the doorman, and wasn't too long after we left there that this guy rides a truck down the
killed all the people.
Killed
right
all
in
the
front of our
people.
hotel where we would have been.
Yeah.
We may be jinxes now that you mention it. And Margot being Mrs. Jurgensen, who insisted that we stay at this place, and it was great. And everything about south of France was great, but I don't have any desire to go back except for your friend that we met over there, the lady that owned your house before you moved in. That was great seeing her, but
Eddie.
I go back to Italy in a minute. France they can keep.
Yeah. Well,
I have no interest in going back to Great Britain. But I'm sure that between Janice and Margot, another trip is being planned, and whatever it is, it'll be about money, and we'll have Guido take care of it. And he's done a great job for us. But Sonny, you told me so many things I didn't know. You lived the glory years. You're such an icon in this city. It's amazing that people who never saw you throw a football, never, ever knew you as a player, always knew you now. I give a lot of credit to that, to your broadcast career and your television career. Identifiable.
I would imagine that's true.
That because they were too young. I mean, they had been young and couldn't afford to go to the game. And then when you retired, they weren't interested until you appeared on television.
That's right.
You had some great characters with you, with John and Tony. And George and well, with Brenner you didn't need anybody.
With Glenn, no, he really didn't. He was
the Sonny. But the shows you guys used to do, Ernie Bauer was the producer director. They'd have a lineup around the block of the TV studios for people for that Sunday night. What was the Monday night show called? Redskin Sidelines.
Redskin Sidelines, and we.
Tickets.
I mean, it was a stitch. I never forget the first time we did it. Glenn was, because I did it with Warner Wolf.
Oh yeah, that was first.
Warner lives in Naples.
I heard that, and he moved.
Yeah.
Charlie Brotman just told me that the other day. He and Sue, of course.
Right. And
he does his show from down there. Do you believe that?
Right.
He does his morning show from Naples.
Right. But Glenn was going to do Redskin Sidelines for the first time. And he said, well, where's the copy? Where's the script? And I said, there's no script. I said, you just go out. They're playing Dallas. You just go out and sit down. He said, what do you mean? I said, just follow me. And we went out, and it's Glenn Brenner and Sonny Jurgensen, and we sat down. We want Dallas. We want Dallas.
The crowd
and
goes wild.
People were standing and hollering and everything. And so Glenn sat there for about 5 minutes, and he said, well, what do we have to say? I said, nothing, just sit here. And they want Dallas. They wanted Dallas. And it was from then on. I mean, we had some wow shows.
It's always been a wild time, huh?
Oh.
Wild time. But Sonny, there's been great years and a great city, and they've embraced you, and they still do, and I think they always will. And it's amazing that the kids, and we talk to enough people to know that. And we've had some of your friends and enemies on our show, and we love the part of it. And George Solomon recalled some of the things that he did with this years, and Billy and so forth. And it's been a great conversation, and we look forward to traveling here again. We're not going anywhere this fall till the football season.
Let's get on a train.
Our train. Sonny, thank you. And this is Our Town, Andy Ockershausen and Sonny Jurgensen, and we look forward to the next broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Our Town Season 1 with your host, Andy Ockershausen. New Our Town podcast episodes are released each Tuesday and Thursday. We welcome your comments and suggestions on how you like the show or who you'd like to hear from next. Catch us on Facebook at Our Town DC or visit our website at OurTownDC.com. Our special thanks to WMAL Radio in Washington, D.C. for hosting our podcasts.